Hey guys, it's another week and I'm here to talk about another episode of the 2002 science fiction television series Firefly. Today I will be talking about the episode titled War Stories. For those of you who have maybe stumbled upon this video accidentally and you are interested in sticking around, allow me to quickly summarize what went down here. Naturally, there will be spoilers. The crew of Serenity is preparing to sell the medicine that they stole in the previous episode, and there's dissension in the ranks. Wash, the goofy pilot of our crew, had one idea, and his wife, Zoe, and Captain Reynolds both shot down this idea. Wash is frustrated that Zoe always sides with the captain on, well, everything, and he decides that instead of Zoe and Mal going to drop off the goods and get the money, he will take Zoe's place. Things go wrong when a gangster the crew of Serenity crossed way back in the second episode, Niska, finds out that they are nearby, and he sends his men to kidnap Mal, and since Wash is with Mal, he gets kidnapped as well. Hilarity ensues, and the remainder of the crew must rescue their friends. I should mention that with this series, I've seen all of the episodes at least twice, but I've seen the episodes closer to the beginning of the series much more than the ones near the end. This is just because there have been times when I would set out to watch the whole series, and then I wouldn't be able to finish it because I would get busy doing something else. But I'm finding that some of these later episodes are really great. At least with this episode, it's much better than I remembered it being. I'm not saying that I thought this episode was awful when I watched it before, but I don't think I liked it nearly as much as I did some of the other episodes. But now I'm thinking I will have to reappraise my opinion of this episode a little bit. First and foremost, I'm beginning to notice that this series is starting to connect some of the episodes together much more than it did in the beginning. I myself have always seen this show as basically 14 standalone episodes that all together form this vast mythology along with the movie. But really, this episode comes right off the heels of the previous episode, just like how the episode Safe came right off the heels of the episode Shindig. But we're seeing even more connectivity here than we did in the beginning of this series, and it's such a testament to the strength of the writing here that they were able to make each episode still stand alone while sewing these connections throughout. For instance, there's the obvious mention of the medicine that they stole in the previous episode, but we get a much more subtle reference to Jane's treachery in the previous episode. Then there's the return of Niska, which, if you're watching this show for the first time, would no doubt be a little bit surprising. And if I may spoil some of the plot happenings of the later episodes, we've got a river incident here that will come back in a little bit of a way later on. But like I say, these things don't make me feel lost. Sure, I've seen the episodes that this one is referring to, but I'm waiting at the very least a week and sometimes 2 weeks between episodes, unlike how I usually watch this series, where I marathon through the whole thing in a week. What I'm saying, though, is that I feel like this does a great job of carrying people who have not seen the other episodes and helping them to enjoy what they are watching now. Another big thing I loved about this episode is that it flat out addresses one of my biggest issues I've had with this series since I first discovered it. I have never really liked the character of Zoe. I always felt like she was the most bland of the cast, and that her sole purpose for being here was to back up Mal on anything and everything that he ever said or did. This episode dares to make that a plot point, and power to them for doing so. Now, it doesn't go so far as to make Zoe into a fully formed character, but at least goes to show that in a tight spot she will choose her husband over her captain. And honestly, I would have had trouble seeing her do that before this episode. Heck, maybe I still have trouble seeing her do that. It's hard to swallow, and it's possible the only reason that she chooses to rescue Wash instead of Mal is because the episode needs these two to patch things up in the span of 45 minutes. But I do come away from this episode buying their relationship, both good and bad, and it is still a point in Zoe's favor that she actually is able to make a decision that does not involve Malcolm Reynolds. And this won't be the last time that we see Zoe can and does have thoughts independent of her captain. So that will be fun when we get there. I will say that even though I buy Zoe and Wash as a couple, and that they don't feel fake or contrived at any point, I do wish that maybe we could have seen an argument from these two that didn't feel so one-sided. It could be that I just don't like Zoe that much, but I really feel Wash has a point here. Zoe was kinda out of line with how she treated Wash's idea. And while Wash does act a bit arrogant and snotty here, can you blame him? I'm just saying, it'd have been nice if we could have had an argument where we can actually see Zoe's side of things and actually believe her. When she tries to tell Wash that she really did think his idea was a bad one, I can't help but think that she is trying to cover for her undying loyalty for her captain. So yeah, the episode isn't perfect to say the least, but I do applaud it for bringing to the fore something that I definitely had a problem with, and doing a pretty good job overall with this idea. This episode has some astoundingly funny lines in it, like when Jane asks if they are going to clone Mal, or when River says that she threw up in Simon's bed. Book telling Simon that he didn't shoot anyone is solid gold, and the entire conversation between Book and Simon at the beginning of the episode is pretty hilarious, although there's definitely a hint of creepy from the shepherd that I never did pick up on before, so there's that. Overall, a great episode, and although I am not ordinarily the kind of person that screams at the sky for the cancellation of this series, I do find myself wondering just what this series would have given us if it had kept going after seeing an episode like this. So that's about all I have here, guys. Did you enjoy this episode of Firefly? Did you enjoy this review? If so, I encourage you to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and come back tomorrow for another video of some kind. And come back sometime next week for the next review of another episode of Firefly. Until then, I will see you guys later. Have a great day.